Podcast. 1, 2, 3.
Hit it! Just kidding. We're not a band. This is the Coop and Hatch Podcast, episode 6. We decided we are going to do a little series, and I'm quite excited about this because I'm hoping you guys will really join in on this. I'm going to start announcing what cars or brands we're going to be focusing on, like a couple days, maybe like a week in advance. And you guys let us know, like, hey, like, yeah, I want to learn about that. Like, I know about this special model. Can you add that? So that way we can get all the information you guys are looking for out as well, not just stuff that we know or look up.
So rewind real quick as we were looking for the 3 to do our game, the comparison game.
We kind of made a second game.
we learned a lot more.
Yep.
You may think we're obsessed with AMC. Really, we're not. We just discovered a whole lot of cool stuff about them. And so there's a great article written about all the weird, funky special editions of the AMC brand.
There's a lot, and that's kind of like, I started looking at other companies too that might have special brands, and we're going to get to those, and that's the point of this series. We just started with this one just because it's not one of the big 3, and they somehow pumped out a stupid amount of special editions for as short of a lifetime that they had.
So the game was going to be to find 3 cars that were from the racing programs of different brands, like the Copa Camaro or the newer, I always get the 4-door, 2-door goofed
Challenger.
up. The Challenger,
Yep.
You can buy a race version of the Challenger.
Yeah.
And we talked earlier about the AMX that I saw that was a race version.
That's kind of where this like started, was like, it's because it ends up in this weird little niche. It's not a homologation race car that you need to make for NASCAR or anything like that, but it also doesn't necessarily fit production needs either, because it's not like you're out wanting to drive a race car every day. They're not comfortable. So the fact that factories are putting out essentially race cars that you can just buy,
or very limited edition souped up cars.
Yes.
So it went from the let's compare 3 cars to let's look deeper into the race programs that the different manufacturers came up with.
They're unique.
And then pick one of those cars as our favorite of what we talk about today. So that's how this all came about.
Yeah, and that's why you brought up AMC. We chose to do AMC because they have a great line of cars, but they have special editions in almost every car, which is crazy. Like, that doesn't happen a whole ton, because, I mean, show me a Chrysler 200 special edition. These guys are out here doing it with their base model Hornets and Gremlins, so, like, that's pretty crazy.
Yeah, so we'll just jump right in. So
he's controlled. We have all of our notes here. I'm just going to let you guys know, for our eyes are being weird. We have, so that way we're not looking back at this the entire time. We have another one set up, so if I have a little bit of lag on mine, I'm sorry. So, but yeah, you want to go into it?
So the Rebel Wagon, we bought a Rebel Wagon when I was 5. And it was just a plain Jane model, nothing fancy like these 3 special editions that we'll go into.
Do you remember what motor it had?
Yeah, it was a straight 6.
So yours was the base model.
Yeah, serious overheating problem. We always had to carry a gallon of water. We didn't have antifreeze in those days. You just threw water in there.
Just more water, and that's where those water troughs from the side of the roads come. Well, we don't have them anymore, but that's why they were there.
It puked out red gunk wherever you parked.
But yeah, so like, theirs had a straight 6. These special Rebels came with V8s. It was either a 290 or a 343 cubic inches, so that converted as a 290 is a 4.7 liter, which is not a small V8 by any means, seeing as we make 3 liter. You can get into the 3 liters with V8s now, that's a small V8. Right. But they also have a 5.6 liter V8 inside of this beast.
Well, and you have to realize when I was a kid, we didn't have SUVs. We had trucks. There was the Suburbans. International had a carryall, but those were just big monster utility vehicles. So if you wanted to tow your 20-foot travel trailer,
you're doing it with a truck.
No, you were doing it with a station wagon. This was the family vacation mobile. You would tow the trailer with these. So
that's a weird thought that an Escalade wasn't a thing.
No, it wasn't even a thing.
This is probably, I guess these versions would be the Escalade.
Yeah, so it was pretty common to see a wagon pulling something. That's why they came with big 343s.
Yeah,
in this case.
and the big old leaf springs in the rear. So
we had a Ford LTD wagon with a 390 in it. It came with a factory trailer hitch.
That's huge.
It was just the thing you did.
Yeah.
So this particular model was built for the Midwest area, kind of with a country hunting sort of theme.
It's more of like a country club style, not like I'm gonna go shoot something in my backyard.
Yeah, that you did in your Ford F-150. But this one only came in black and red. So
yes,
the next one,
they're all automatics as well, so they're pretty standard. The only thing that's really different is like interior touches and paint jobs, essentially.
Yeah, so this one is the Westerner edition. Came with a cool little horse on the side. Mm-hmm. They made about 500 of these.
Yeah.
And this is my favorite.
This one's so pretty. And this girl's got an eye patch. If you're selling something and you've got an eye patch, I'm there. I'm down. That's a crazy situation. Sell me your wagon, madam.
So they made 600 of these. They were sold on the West Coast and mainly the Gulf Coast of Florida. So they were very specific. They made 600 and
I guess that'd be why it's called a Mariner. Stick it close to the ocean.
Yeah. So of course came with like the Mariner blue. Interior was totally decked out for.
I highly doubt it did come with an eye patch though.
Yeah, probably not. And it would impair your vision.
Oh, that would be dangerous. So
that's kind of the special edition wagons. Now we'll move into some of the funner cars.
This one's not. Okay, this one I don't think hits the funner part. Is it funner? That's our word now. But this is cool because it's limited based off of color and vinyl top, which is interesting.
And this one was mainly made for New York City or New York and New Jersey.
Yeah, so these were kind of just like the I'm a muscle car, bright color edition.
But it didn't have a big motor. It didn't have any souped up features like some of the others.
I'm sure you probably could get those things it's like, oh, I do want that. Because I mean, based off of like how many options are available, I'm sure someone's got the money to be like, yo, can you step it up a little bit? So, but yeah, this is their green. It's called electric green. It came in tangerine and blue.
I would like to see the tangerine.
I want to see the blue, because if you have two cool names, but then you just throw the word blue in there, that's got to be a cool blue at least.
Yeah, so they made 300 of these, just sold them in the New York, New Jersey area. This one is just flat out.
Honestly, after learning about this, I think this may be closest to the most American car. Like, yes, we have the Mustang, we have the Camaro, but this thing should have been in charge.
It's called the Machine.
There's a comedian that talks about how his nickname in Russia is the Machine.
Do we know how many they made?
I don't think that was listed actually.
I don't remember how many.
I know it's extraordinarily limited though.
Yeah, but this thing came out with high power output motor. Came with special heads, special cam with a 390 CFM 4-barrel.
What does that mean?
Matson didn't understand that. It's cubic feet per minute, I believe. CFM. That's how much air the carburetor can suck in.
Okay, so that is your air to gas ratio.
Well, that's how much air it's sucking in.
Okay, interesting.
To mix with the gas. For example, a lot of people when they run small blocks run Holley 600 or 650s.
Is that like coming? So when you're saying the size of these carburetors, are they more based off of like how we have injectors now?
Yeah.
Okay. So the bigger number of a carburetor, the more air and gas you're gonna get.
Right.
Okay. Cool.
More gases.
So basically, the number is just
how much air
size.
Yeah. How much it's sucking.
If you don't know sizes of injectors, they start at CCs and they go from like anywhere from 200 and up. Like you can get massive ones, but again, it's a very
talking about.
Yeah, but we're at the carbs. But yeah, it's the bigger the number, essentially, the more air and more gas you're going to end up creating.
So, for example, we talked about when my first car, my V8 Vega. I wanted a tunnel ram, 2 4-barrels sticking out of the hood, but if I put 2 600s on it, that would be 1200 CFM.
So that's too much air.
So that would just flood the car out. When you leave the stoplight, it would just flood out and probably stall.
Okay.
Because you're
just forcing too much gas and air in there, and so it's just not knowing what to do with all that.
Right. So Holly made a 4-barrel for a 4-cylinder for it was a 390 CFM. My buddy had one on his little Vega that was super cool.
Interesting.
So I bought 2 of those and put on top of the tunnel ram. So I was basically running a 780 CFM, which was about as big as you'd want to go with a pretty built.
Oh, that's kind of crazy.
Chevy.
Okay.
So it looked like 1200 CFM.
Shoot, dang, you were just doing mechanical tuning.
And everybody would walk up. We put that on my buddy's Camaro for a while. And everybody come up to the Camaro and say 327, 308 gears in the rear end. This thing's a freeway flyer. We're just going to kill it coming out of the hole. But what they didn't know, it was only a 780 CFM. So
you basically made a high compression motor.
A high rev motor. We'd rev that sucker and know tomorrow. So it would come off the line at like 5,000-6,000 RPM, go to 7,000-8,000.
Oh my gosh!
So it came out of the hole super fast, even though it had freeway gears in it.
Yeah, but you're at freeway speed immediately.
Yeah, so it would just launch. So anyway, that's what the.
Did you make launch control with carburetors?
No, just a really good driver. Nice satin shotgun. So that I'm pointing at the screen like you know what I'm pointing at.
Yeah.
So that's what the 390 CFM 4-barrel is. It's pretty cool.
So that makes sense on this motor because this motor is so much bigger. You need that massive carburetor. You need all that air. You need that gas. Okay.
Right.
Cool.
So then it came with an exhaust. Options were pistol grip shifter.
Ooh,
and
we love
if
a
you
good
wanted,
pistol
you
grip.
could get 5.0 gears in the rear end, which is so low.
That is like drag racing gear. Like the lowest you can get in a Subaru from the factory is in my RS 2.5. No, I have a 410. It's in the automatics and special like STIs get a 444 gear. So that's like, and that is like, that's what they rally on. So this is even past that point.
Yeah, and the Jag with the V12 came with 411s, which when you put a stock small block Chevy up to it wrapped up way too fast.
Shoot, dang, that's peanut butter and jelly right there. And just rev the crap out of her and just get up in those gears.
Yeah, not on the freeway.
That is a good point.
Yeah, that sucker was.
So you built a drag car out of a Jag.
Yeah, basically.
Nice.
Okay, next.
Next, he says.
This is the little brother.
Ooh, I kind of like it.
Yeah, it reminds me. It kind of looks like a Dart or an old Nova. Yeah,
or what was the Duster?
Yeah,
it's got that kind of like I'm a tough little. It's a pit bull.
Yeah,
it's a pit bull of a car.
The fact that it came with a hood scoop and those rally wheels were pretty standard.
Look at the blue, dude. Like the contrast, and you can tell it has the nice striping inside of the interior. Yeah. This is a cool little car, especially if you can't be out here affording the machine. Good option for sure.
Right, so the machine beefed up you could get with about 400 horsepower. This was running the 390, which was putting out about 315 horsepower. It came with a Borg Warner T10. I was going to look that up. I'm thinking that my brain's
It's automatic, I think.
No, that's a 4-speed.
That's a Ford.
But I'm thinking that might be a Ford transmission because AMC swapped all kinds of stuff over.
So AMC basically just used everyone else's parts to make cool cars, which props to you.
If I'm wrong on the T10 being Ford, I'm sorry.
The 4-speed means it's got 4 gears plus reverse.
Right.
So that's 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, and back then the 4-speed was pretty rare. Most cars came with a 3-speed.
Yeah.
And a lot of
that's
them
crazy.
With 3-speed.
And now we're getting like 6 speeds is super common for a manual transmission if a manual transmission was a common thing. But now we're getting into like 10-speed automatics. Yeah. What?
That's crazy. So they made 112 of these with this paint scheme, and they made 500 with what they called the B trim. It was just.
It was blue on the with striping instead of white, and it was on this lower panel right here. The picture just wasn't there. But yeah, it's basically just a color change, and there's 500 of those ones?
Yeah, 500
of the B trims? Okay, cool. Yeah, I like it. It's, Oh, I mean, comparable to like a standard one, this still is a monster.
Yeah.
But compared to like what's on this list, this is a low end car.
Yeah, I mean, this would be a lot of fun, no doubt.
Yeah.
But yeah.
This would be the perfect weekend cruiser for sure.
AMC did build some monsters.
Yes, they did. These are not the monsters, though.
Yeah, no. These are the fashion.
This is the other end of it. So AMC, since they kind of came in late to the game and stuff like that, they had to really play into modern media a lot to be able to put out a presence like the Mustang already had. And so not only were they going crazy on the racetrack, they decided to team up with a bunch of fashion companies to make special edition, mainly interiors. And so I'm going to start backwards because everyone, we know about Gucci, and the fact that this is back in the 60s, they're rocking a Gucci Hornet.
60s, 70s.
Dude, not like, that's not shabby.
Cadillac made a Gucci Seville, which was the four-door little square caddy.
Dude, I kind of want one of these, like,
Gucci symbol on the vinyl top.
It's weird. I've never thought about like wanting. I've never really think about interiors on cars. I'm just like, put a bucket seat and I'm happy. But now I'm seeing like these kind of bougie ends and stuff. I'm like, shoot, because
it's kind of like the Eddie Bauer Bronco or the
but I mean, look at the Pierre Cardin.
Pierre Cardin.
Cardin. Oh, that is awesome. That's in a Javelin too. The Javelin's a cool car, but. What's going on, man? Like, this needs to come back. This is a cool style. But they teamed up with a couple other companies too. There was quite a few. We just didn't put them in. But we have to give it to Levi's. They win out of all of these because they're the only one to choose a Gremlin.
The only car worse than the Gremlin is the Pacer.
Yeah, well, yeah.
If you're familiar with Wayne's World.
Yeah, the one that stripes with a licorice dispenser.
Yes.
But yeah, the fact that you're using a Gremlin and Levi's, like that just makes sense. So we met a dude that actually has like 8 Gremlins or something like that.
Oh, that dude at that car show.
The car show. It was purple.
Yeah.
That thing was crazy. Like finding one Gremlin's like nuts. Like I think I've seen 4 in person.
This guy has like 8 of them.
8 of them. And I'm like, can I move in?
That's just neighbors can't stand his little Gremlin collection.
They're probably just like, oh, look at this Gremlin of a neighbor. I don't know why they're Russians, but there are. Then you have the other end of the Gremlin. This is, I've actually loved the Gremlin since he showed it to me. I think it's the most awkward, especially when they're in green. It makes no sense as a car because it's a hatch that has no room to put anything in it. You got a long hood, so way too much weight up in the front for no rear end. This is literally like the Jimmy Neutron of cars. It's just a big old head and no body.
So AMC made the Gremlin GT.
That's this one with the cool little flare kit on it.
And then the Randall dealership down in Mesa, Arizona took 20 of the GT Gremlins and made the Randall 401 XR.
Here's the thing about the 401. The 401 didn't make it into any other car on this list. Everyone else is running the 390. So this literally has the biggest motor you can get in an AMC.
Bigger than most cars.
In the crazy
6.5 liter.
That's crazy, dude. The Raptor V8 was running a 6.3 liter. This has more displacement than a Raptor, and it's the shape of a shoe. It's crazy.
Off the showroom floor, it ran 13.9 at 106, which back in that day was pretty quick.
That's insanely quick, but what makes it even more mind-blowing in my brain is the fact that this is what the GT was. He took any arrow that may have been on there off and just turned it into this broken brick of a car and strapped a rocket to it and sent it down to Texas. Well, I guess from Arizona to Texas, but like...
Yeah, that thing's a beast.
That's sick. Can you imagine this thing with an aero kit, like in a functional aero kit? I bet this thing would push high into the...
Well, and it's almost a high boy, too. I mean, look at the gap between the wheels.
Yeah,
and the...
like aerodynamically, this car should not be going over 7 miles an hour. That's terrifying.
No. It's like let's make a dam and see how fast we can make it go.
Well, he did it.
Yep, 13.
And he did it in a cool way, man. So that's...
Okay.
Ooh, man. Okay, so if you don't know what Playmates are, they're Playboy bunnies. And so the Playmate is the Playboy bunny of the year. We have no opinion on Playboy bunny. Like, no one cares. But any Playmate always gets a car at the end of the year. Like, oh, you're like the person or whatever, right?
Ooh,
so Angela Dorian?
That's not her real name. I don't remember what her real name is.
Oh yeah, no idea. So it's a one of one. It's literally just a pink AMX, and there's nothing else done to it.
Playboy company went to AMC and said, "We need you to
paint it pink."
The Playboy car of the year,
of
Playboy of the year car in 1968, and we did a little Google on this. Jay Leno Garage did an episode. This car,
they go really into depth on this exact car. Yeah, it's really cool. Someone rebuilt it from ground up.
You know, I wonder if he even knew it was the Playboy car when he saw it sit in the parking lot.
I think so.
He owned, according to the show, you might want to Google that, Jay Leno Garage AMX. Jay interviews the man that owns it, and he has another AMX. So he saw this on a lot.
Yeah.
Bought it. And turned out to be
the Playmate. I don't know, dude. That is. I'm sure he knows now.
Oh,
but when he bought
it, because he restored it back exact as it is.
And then, obviously, fun fact already on the screen: she did kill her husband, and she's in jail. So, don't kill people. We don't condone any of that here.
Oh, another funny thing is the guy that owns it was talking about, because Jay asked him, was it pink when you found it? And he goes, no, most of the Playmates would paint their car a different color because they would get pulled over by the police wanting autographs, and
just too much attention.
Would get weird people following them home and stuff because, hey, the people...
It's a Playmate. Like, don't be a creep.
Yeah.
Don't murder people and don't be creepy.
You know, I wonder, I doubt people follow Mary Kay pink caddies home.
No.
I'm not. That lady's very
personally, I'm not in the market for lipstick, so one makes sense.
Yeah. You just know she sells a lot of it.
This is true.
She's got the pink caddy, so kudos to you.
Solid work. This is my favorite. I love the styling. I love the color. Everything about it. This is the lowest horsepower one on the list. But I mean, I'm a big fan of these awkward muscle cars like the Maverick GT. The Ford Maverick GT will always have a special place in my heart. It's a really not good car, but man, are they cool.
It's kind of like the Monza.
The Vega.
Well, Vega was never really a race car.
True, and the V8 swap in the Vega was pretty.
But the Cosworth Vega, that was a weird, cool car. Still one of my favorites. But
this definitely falls under that. This is like this is equivalent to a Cosworth Vega, but I'm like, this thing's so good. I mean, it comes with the smaller V8, but it's still a good V8. But the small ones mean you can get higher revs. So it's got a 360, puts out 245 horsepower, and that's not a bad number even by today's standards for a production car. I mean, when you think about like Miatas and stuff, they're not even hitting 200. So this is putting down like a good V6 power for nowadays, which isn't a bad option. But
you can always build it.
Yes, yeah. Well, they kind of did it from the factory. You could get it with a 4-barrel. And this would bump it up with what's called the Go package. We kind of talked about it earlier.
Go package.
Basically, they just like put a 4-barrel on it, give her some air and give her some gas, like call it good.
And T10 4-speed.
Yep. So yeah, the 4-barrel came with the 4-speed. The 2-barrel that normally came on it came with the 3-speed.
3-speed automatic.
And manual as well.
Oh.
So yeah, it definitely was a commuter race vibe car. I would be like, a good way to put this is like, it's the new like, you know, the Impreza Sport. It's not a WRX, but this is like that level, but still cool.
Still cool. I love the fact that a lot of these cars came with the rally wheels. I had
they're fantastic.
I had that same wheel on my 64 Nova.
Rally's the style. Like back in these days, there was like 7 styles of wheels and that was it.
This
Like that.
particular 5-star was known as the Rally Wheel.
Yep. Ooh, but the SS Krager.
Pretty common amongst Chevys and AMCs. Actually, wouldn't be surprised if it came from Chevy.
Yeah, most likely.
Good chance.
But yeah, that's kind of the most on this. There were 784 of them produced, so not a whole ton. So I doubt I'll be on the hunt for one of these.
So if you stumble across one, let us know.
Yeah, thank you in advance. 40 years later, probably be dead by then. Cool. So we're getting towards the end. These are the AMXs. So I'm gonna let him take over because we all know his love for the AMX on this. But there's so many of them that we couldn't list all the facts in because they're all so similar, but there's like 2 things that are different, and there's just too many of those 2 things.
Well, they built them for very specific purposes.
Yes.
We talked about the Playboy Bunny.
Yep.
One.
What was that thing's specific purpose?
Just for
marketing.
just for her. You get the grand prize, AMC. Woohoo!
Thanks for living.
Couldn't get a bed or a Ferrari or anything. Had to get a $3,500 AMX. Yeah, probably more with the custom paint job.
Exactly.
So on the left, AMC employed 5-time world champion.
We're starting here.
Yeah.
So it's our left. I guess it would be a little left too.
Yeah.
Look
So
at that.
the Breedlove was Craig and his wife Lee Breedlove. They were the 5-time world champions. So AMC went
Of
to
what?
them. 5-time world record holder. I think endurance. I'll have to look that
I
up.
was like, if he's a 5-time world record fork designer,
No.
it's kind of a weird thing for him to be into.
No, I didn't write it down. I think it was for endurance. He was known for his
Yeah,
endurance.
I mean, there's the red nose is built for endurance and blue nose is built for endurance, so it kind of makes sense.
So he had 3 versions. One with the red nose came with a 396 3-speed automatic. Unfortunately, it crashed, and so they moved on to number 2, the blue nose, which we don't have a picture of.
My assumption would be swap paint jobs.
Right.
Yeah, just flip it.
So AMC hired him and his wife to build cars for endurance and speed testing. So I would imagine that's his expertise.
So he was kind of the Shelby of AMC.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So the blue nose was 290 bored to 304, which like the Ford
interesting.
The Ford 302 or the Chevy 302 was a killer motor.
Yeah, so they kind of just like, here's a little bit more torque and the same amount of revs.
Yeah, it came with a 4-speed manual. The cool thing is him and his wife driving the car for over 24 hours averaged 140.79 miles an hour.
What?
For 24 hours. Yeah.
That's the average speed. So that means they actually went way faster than that.
They went faster and then
slower, but
so
like
the average speed.
That's an insane average speed. Most people hit like 90 and you're like, nope, I'm done. That's it. But like, and I've hit 140 before, and like you feel it. The entire car floats. Like when you're going 140, it almost feels like everything is just hovering. So any little mistake, you can die.
Yeah.
And these are like, let's do that consistently. That means for like
24 hours.
Yeah, and if you think about it, you hit 140, you tap it, you're done. You're like, whoo, I hit it. These guys are like 140, pin it, lock it in, cruise control. Like,
yeah, I mean, that's
crazy.
And then they made one prototype, the AMX 600. It has an aero kit on it. You can see the picture. This little bit of a slope nose.
It's got a nice point to it. It kind of has like that Jensen vibe. Yeah, I like it.
The cool thing is this car's still in existence and it's been restored. So that's pretty cool.
We gotta find it. Yeah. We gotta see it.
So shooting to the far right, after learning about these kind of became my favorite AMX. They made 10 to 12 of them. There's one left that they know of, and it was built strictly to practice running Pikes Peak.
Oh, man. So this is 60s Pike Peak, so this isn't like asphalt. This is half asphalt and the rest is dirt.
Well, it's late 60s, early 70s.
They still like
Yeah.
You're still going on dirt in the Titanic.
Yeah, they didn't give a lot of specs on this car, but the fact that there's only one left is pretty sad.
In general, Pikes Peak cars are high horsepower, always lower, very stiff suspension, like not a lot of give. So, yeah, I can imagine that thing being a riot up there.
Yeah.
If you've know, Pikes Peak is a mountain in Colorado where you do hill climbs, and it's like the #1 hill climb one in the U.S. And that's why you see like a lot of the Gymkhana kind of block race there. I mean, the Volkswagen IDR, I think it's called, the electric one, set the world's fastest electric time on it.
And the mechanic from Grease Monkey.
Oh yeah, his Falcon.
He built the Falcon.
Yeah, he built the Falcon for there. And then when you hear Evo Corner is like towards the top of Pikes Peak, and it was where Evo like just launched right off the side. And they both guys lived and like didn't have a ton of injuries, and they actually go around to like car shows now and have like a display of how it crashed.
That's a crazy crash.
Yeah, definitely watch Pikes Peak's videos because the cars that go there are just insane. Like they're not even like the. It's I don't know. It's like the pinnacle of building, and you're just like, oh, you want to see a spaceship? There you go. Like.
So and the last one is the Super Stock AMX. They built 52 of these. After they started building them, Hearst took over and then really souped them up. If you remember me talking about the Sheriff of Nottingham AMX on one of the earlier episodes, his was number 26 of the 52 and number 6 of the Hearst built. And the Hearst
built, that's cool.
Yeah, Hearst took them over. They were running 390s with the T10 4-speed.
So very similar to the drag setup one.
Right. No, this was definitely the Super Stock was set up just for drags.
Okay.
They put a new suspension in it. They were running 444 gears, kind of like you're talking about.
Hey, yes.
You know, it's definitely a
aggressive gearing.
They had dual 650 Hollies on my favorite intake manifold. It's an Edelbrock cross ram. So instead of being tall and sticking out of the hood, they sat sideways like this.
So the carbs not sit like this, but they sat like this?
Yeah, they sat.
And so then they fed in and basically used the air of the cross ram to make a vorticity.
Right.
Okay.
So
or make a vortex and then have the vorticity effect. So essentially they were trying to make compression or like compressed air based off of air movement. Okay.
Right.
That makes sense.
I showed you that one Camaro.
Yeah, they look really cool. It's interesting because they're really flat. I didn't expect it to be so skinny.
Yeah, they're really low profile dual carburetor setups. Had Doug's headers on it. Famous, everybody knows Doug's headers. It was putting out a 420 horsepower from the factory.
420 back in 60s and
68, 69.
Whew, dude, that is cooking.
It was running 12.3 to 1 compression ratio on the pistons.
Oh
which means
my
if you're not
gosh.
familiar with compression, it measures it here while the piston's at the bottom, and then it measures it when it's at the top, and it's compressed that air 12.3 times. So the space is there's.
Yeah, 12 to 1 ratio is like considered as it's not the perfect ratio because it depends on your build, but if you need a standard ratio to go to, 12.1 is recommended.
And that's pretty high compression.
Yeah, well for like high compression motors, not for like daily. Do not tune a 12.1 into your Camry. Don't do that.
No, unless you want to park it.
Or blow it up. Hey, if you're gonna do that, actually, send me a video.
You blow it up and then you park it.
True.
So.
Very true.
This came with a whopping price tag of $59.94.
Not even $6,000.
$6 less than $6,000.
We're gonna take it. I'm sorry, this is kind of rude. I'm doing a conversion on this real quick because that's insane.
The regular AMX at the time sold for $3,500.
What year was it?
68, 69. So while he's doing his conversion, that just kind of wraps up the crazy AMC special edition cars. Obviously, the AMX is on my favorite. We've talked about it way too much, so we're going to be moving on to other things.
Okay, that's a big old jump. Shoot. I'm going to give you the percentage because it sounds dramatic. 686.11% higher.
Yeah.
So you're not finding it for $6,000. And I did $6,000 too, so this is a little bit high. But the converted rate would be $47,000. So that build would be equivalent to like a Scat Pack nowadays. So.
Well, or the race version, because this was strictly a race car.
True. I mean, if you threw a supercharger on it, you can still. Based off of that motor specifically, I think getting to Hellcat level is going to be pretty difficult. Not impossible.
Well, but if you're comparing build versus build, this was the build of the day.
Yeah, this would have been the Hellcat of.
The build of today was like that museum I sent you the picture of. That Dodge race car, just from the factory built drag car.
That's insane. So this essentially was at that level of Hellcat, RTR, the Exorcist, like all these crazy special editions we're getting now.
Back in those days. So
how cool.
From this, we're going to research what Ford and what Chevy did.
Yes.
And what Dodge did.
I'm really excited to see what Dodge did, but I'm actually more excited to see what they did on the Plymouth side because they played with Plymouth a lot. I mean, look at the Superbird. So,
that's a crazy
and like crazy road runners were around too. So yeah, we're good. I'm excited to do this series because this is, I think, a really niche part of the car world that isn't known about a whole ton unless you were like know about it. So I'm excited to learn myself. As you can tell, this type of stuff gets me like super hyped.
1, 2, 3.
I gotta do that every time.
Go.
All right. Sorry, we had some technical difficulties. The battery died, so my bad. I have a hat now. So
my hair probably looks different.
Yep, I tried to get mine the same. I just turned into a rooster, so I was like, hat it is. I also find it kind of ironic. I'm wearing a Triumph shirt and a Harley hat.
Cool bikes.
We love two wheels here, not just four. Yeah, so we were talking about the AMC AMXs, and we were going to go into what's your favorite. So clearly, the Pikes Peak would be the chosen one. I mean,
by far the coolest. I think.
But there's only one, so like there is zero chance. So take that one out. Which one would you get?
I'd have to go for a super stock.
The Hertz one?
Yeah.
Yeah, just like the Sheriff.
Hertz super stock.
Yeah, so we found out the Sheriff Nottingham was number 26 of that entire series, but number 6 of when Hertz took over the builds. And so that definitely makes sense why that would be your favorite, because that is a gorgeous car, especially like a factory build. That's almost just like equivalently to like a JDM car. That would be like owning a Pro Drive P1 GC8.
But I mean, look at the stripes with the Hearst and,
it's just,
the
wheels,
like weld wheels.
Oh yeah, like that's a factory wheel. That's good looking, especially for back in the day, because everything else is around those rally ones.
Yeah.
So
super sick car. So what's your favorite?
Oh, it's definitely the C360 Hornet. That thing, I understand it's got the lowest horsepower on the list, but like the styling's phenomenal. Like it's just an overall amazing car. Yeah, let's get it. Boom. I mean, those flares are like killing it for me, because it has almost those flares are kind of almost advanced for what it is.
Well, on this car they wouldn't be flares. It's just the wheel well.
Yeah, it's just part of the wheel well.
And
but I mean,
that front.
Show me the last time a car came out with a flare like that from the factory outside of the Pontiac G8.
I know, and that front wheel well has always been one of my favorite wheel well styles. I've always wanted to cut that off of this car and use it for a rear flare on something. We actually kind of copied that on the Vega. We never finished the Vega, but we kind of copied that style on the Vega, just because I love that look so much. So
yeah. Cool, I understand. Like, put the Go package on there. I'm happy. That's cool. You get a 4-speed. You got a 4-barrel. It puts out a good amount of horsepower. So I think as a daily, that's the one I'm going to go with for sure. Cool. So yeah, that is the end of episode 6. Again, sorry for the technical difficulties.
The change of tire.
The addition of tire. I have a head blouse on now.
Yes. So we haven't finalized the date for tripping with Coop and Hatch yet, but we're still planning on going to the Love Hot Springs.
Yep.
And we're going to talk about coming up this weekend.
Yes. Okay. So tomorrow, today when this releases, this is going to be the last that you can enter in the morning to get the NRX tickets for this weekend race out in Twilla. It's the 24th and 25th. You don't have to go on 24th and 25th. I don't think you're going to be going on the 24th because that's a Friday.
If we leave late enough, but it depends on the.
So we're probably just going to go for the head-to-heads on Friday, and then Saturday most likely be there all day or as late as it goes. We got the tickets purchased and everything. So again, it's the unassigned seated area, which is going to be really nice rather than just like standing. And again, if you need a ride, we're more than happy to get you out there. So, and then
don't forget, pick of the week, car of the week. I sent you a funky paint job today.
You did. I like it, and I'm going to post it. It's a good one.
Look forward to this. I just drive in and parked, saw this really funky paint job.
So that thing was here.
Yeah, that was in Salt Lake.
Well, right on.
Okay. Wait till I see it. Pick of the week. It's a cool paint job. Definitely sticks out. Yes,
I have another one that I saw at the weekend at Scrape Fest. Very interesting wheel to car setup. It's not what you'd expect.
So do you want to post both of them and have that?
Yeah, because I forgot you last week too. So I'm gonna. Oh, that's a good idea. You guys tell us which one you think is better. Honestly, it's probably. I'm not gonna be biased. Not gonna be biased. But yeah, if you guys can follow us on Instagram, it's just Coop and Hatch. Or Coop and Hatch Podcast, pretty much everywhere. If you search it, it'll pop up. Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. I haven't posted much on there, but we'll get better at it. And then in YouTube, you got to make sure you put podcast at the end of it or it won't pop up. You can follow my personal account. It's just Matson_Woodfield, and yours is Carrie the Carpet Guy?
On Instagram, yeah.
Okay, cool. And we're still posting stuff there too. But yeah, thank you again for all the support and the consistency in which you guys watch them. We love putting this out just because, I don't know, it's what we've kind of always done, so it's cool to be able to include everybody into something that has been part of our life forever.
And we've talked about it for years. We just never did it. So, I mean, it's exciting to get over the fear of sitting in front of a camera and looking silly and goofy.
I mean, that's what we are, though.
Yeah.
So, but again, guys, thank you. We love you. And you have a great Wednesday. Boom.